been quite stressful time finding work. My employment history started when I wanted to do childcare at school. My first job, that was before I got diagnosed with Asperger's. They didn't understand my dyspraxia or my type 1 diabetes, and I was quite shocked, and it was really stressful. I went for an interview and I told them I don't want to be on the tills because of my dyspraxia, and I have a dyscalculia, which is like dyslexia but with numbers, and I didn't want to be on the tills. I said I wanted to do shelf stacking, but they put me on the tills anyway, and it was really stressful time. I have a phone phobia, so they didn't really understand why I wasn't answering the phone, and they would blame me with the lack of communication, and it was technically them. Most employers don't know what Asperger's is. Most people kind of do, but then when it gets into a working situation, they fall flat and they don't really understand what help I need. With Asperger's, you don't have to necessarily say you have it. Depending on what type of job, I disclose it. So with my type of job in care, I've disclosed it because if anything went wrong, then it would be on their neck and on mine, because I wouldn't have told them I had Asperger's. I think I've got the interviews because most employers have to meet a quota for the government. So you tick a box and they'll have to say interview about 5 people with disabilities throughout the year just to keep the government happy and things like that. So I had loads of interviews in the past, but I'll never get them because as someone with Asperger's, interviews are not really my thing. I look good on paper, but then the interview would fail me. I've had to learn how to cope with rejection. Before I was chucking things, screaming at my mum and dad. I just wanted a chance to do a job that I wanted to do, and because people with Asperger's, they're very loyal, they really want to work. It's just finding the right employer to understand that. The government have so many schemes for other people, but they just don't have a scheme for people with Asperger's at the moment. You have loads of shops are dementia friendly, but I think we need work to be Asperger friendly and things like that. And there are employees who are, but I think it's just if people want to go into the main supermarkets, I think they really need to hire their autistic training. I'm very lucky that I look fine on the outside, but it's the inside that is not fine. It's you're screaming out, and most employers look at you going, you're not disabled, or you don't have a disability, you're absolutely fine. And I think it's that perceptive that you look normal on the outside, that means you can be put more under pressure because you look fine and you can handle it, but in reality you can't, and you need that little bit more support. Most Asperger's have to rely on around themselves to say what support they need. The employer have no clue. I got my current job in care. I do enjoy it. I'm working with the elderly in a care home, and I love it. The staff are brilliant. They're so supportive, and they understand all my needs and things like that. They don't pressurise me. They just let me get on with it at my own pace. So yeah, I love it. None of my colleagues mention my Asperger's at all. They haven't said, oh, what does it feel like? I think they just view me as a normal valued employee, and I got told a couple of weeks ago that I was an asset to the company, and that really lifted my confidence to that level as well. I'm a carer. The elderly are always talking to you, and it really does help your communication skills. Some of the residents I work with are absolutely lovely. They'll have a conversation with you, and yeah, you have to communicate with them because some of them sometimes they can't hear, so I'll write it down on a piece of paper. And I also feel how frustrated they are as well, because Asperger's can be a little bit like dementia. The residents get frustrated, so I think I have a calming nature to calm them down, because I understand what they're going through in their head. I think the main challenge was my manager. My current manager left in December, and we got a new manager, and she's Polish, but she can speak really good English. And I was really nervous because I didn't know how much she would know about Asperger's, but she's actually really good about it, because I think my previous manager told her about my Asperger's and what I needed and things like that. But yeah, I felt really worried that I wouldn't be able to cope. But I was thinking about going into support work anyway, but I think my mum was a bit worried that, because I told her I've got an interview in a care home, I think my mum was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to cope, and she's going, "Are you sure?" I was going, "Yeah, I'm sure."